What's going on, and welcome back to another episode of Redefining Issued Equipment. And in this video we're going to be going over a leadership setup for the KDH plate carrier, or as it's also known, the soldier plate carrier system. So that way, as a whole system, it's going to enable you on mission and working in that operational environment and filling that leadership position, as well as enhance your ability to shoot, move, communicate, and medicate. So from the top, we have a low output headlamp mounted to the front plate bag, and that's going to be a white and red light capable headlamp. If you want something that's a little bit more capable than that, I would look into Surefire and or Streamlight, where you can get lights that are white, red, blue, and IR. Those blue lights and IR lights are really going to isolate those medical situations and scenarios. Blue is going to highlight blood and help you treat that casualty, and IR is going to help maintaining that complete autonomy, so to speak, and noise and light discipline, because you're working under night vision under IR lights, so you're not going to have really any signature when it comes down to it. But with that, in conjunction with that headlamp, we also have a admin pouch here. No matter which admin pouch you go with, I would try and maintain some sort of low profile and streamlined configuration, so that way it doesn't interfere with drawing your mags and conducting tac mag or bolt lock or emergency reloads. But with that, when it comes to these admin pouches, we have the first spear here, and that's going to be really good for GRGs, map sections, and any other mission essential data that you may need to take out on mission with you. So really good pouch when it comes down to it. It's one of my preferred if I do run an admin pouch, but typically I don't run an admin pouch. I'll usually offset that equipment to an arm board or something else, or another pouch, so that way it's not interfering with my magazines. With that, beneath the admin pouch, we do have a couple of cleaning rod sections, especially when it comes to working with partners running any type of foreign or Russian platform. You're going to find them running steel casing. Those steel casings can rupture or get stuck in that chamber, and that's a good way to get those out. In addition to that, M4s and American platforms do have a tendency to do that from time to time, so it will help with getting any type of casing out of that chamber, so that way you can keep that gun in the fight. With that, just beneath the pretty much admin section that we have up top, we have all of our ammo. The Tac Taylor Fight Light triple mag panel is our primary source of carrying those magazines, and then if we need the additional space, we also have one of these Blue Force Gear 10-speed pouches up top. Now with that, with this older version of the 10-speed, it is a little bit difficult to get those magazines back in those pouches. So if you go with the newer version, I would get the stackable version. You have this little pull tab up top, and you can also stack additional equipment on top of that. But when it comes to ammo and setting it up on your plate carrier, I would recommend going with a aftermarket magazine pouch, just because typically if you're going to run the Army issued or military issued triple mag panel, the way that the center MOLLE is set up, it's going to force you to offset your magazine pouch either slightly left or slightly right, which can be problematic when you're trying to run dual comms and other equipment on your plate carrier. So I'd recommend going with something different, and or just running the double magazine flapped pouches on the front of your plate carrier if you want to save a little bit of money there. But with that, when it comes to this configuration, we can run 6 mags up front if we need 6 mags. Typically I'll just run 3 on the front, 1 in the gun, 2 on my back, and then 1 on my belt, or I'll offset those additional mags somewhere else when it comes to hitting a full combat infantry load. In addition to that, the cool thing with these Blue Force Gear pouches is you can run a lot of additional equipment. You can run initiating systems, flashbangs, compasses, GPSs, the list goes on, but there's a lot of different things that you can run inside of these elastic pouches that's going to fall into that mission essential category when it comes to equipment. So just keep that in mind. Beneath our magazines, we do have a tourniquet set up here on the bottom. I typically run 1 tourniquet mounted center on the plate carrier, or on the bottom of the plate carrier, and then I have 1 on my belt, so that way when it comes to being ambidextrous, using my right and my left hand, I can employ those tourniquets to whatever extremity wound I may have, and then have them front and center for anybody else that may be coming up to provide buddy aid if I'm completely knocked out and incapacitated. So just keep that in mind when it comes to that. In addition to that, you can also run those tourniquets to the left and to the right of the magazine panel. That's also another option if you're not running any type of gun belt, and that will help keep those tourniquets front and center, so that way you can employ them for self-aid or a buddy can employ them for buddy aid. With that, moving into the cummerbund, we have upgraded the cummerbund, or the issued cummerbund, to the Arbor Arms elastic cummerbund. There are a couple of different options and configurations you can go with this guy. I would recommend going with the 3-strand for this plate carrier. It just works a little bit better in my opinion, and it allows you the space to be able to run your soft body and hard plates that you're going to probably have to add on to this, as well as a dual comms setup for that leadership role. Now, no matter what leadership role you're filling in, whether you're a team leader or you're a platoon leader or platoon sergeant or anything in between, I recommend running dual comms, so then that way, in the event that there's a leadership casualty, you can pull their radio and continue mission and maintain the dual comm setup. And when it comes to the dual comms, you have one radio for team or platoon internal, and then you have another radio for higher headquarters, whether that's company level or above. And then that way you can keep those nets free and communicate freely as needed. With that, when it comes to the way that we have this comms piece set up, we do have dual push-to-talk systems. So if you want to run Peltors, just make sure that you have the appropriate Peltors. We got 2 cables to connect into the 2 systems. If you have a single port Peltor system, I would recommend running a dual comms or dual push-to-talk box. That way you have the ability to connect that single port into that push-to-talk, and then that push-to-talk will split in between your 2 radio systems, and you'll have 2 pressure switches or pushes for that comms setup. So it's a couple of options, things that you can work around. If you do that, you may have to offset your admin pouch just a little bit, but it will help keep things a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more functional when it comes down to that. With that, when it comes to the comms piece stuff, we do have hair ties managing all of our extra cable that you can see here. Whether you have extra cable and you need to mount it just to the interior of your first spear tubes, and then we also have hair ties, or 2 hair ties, one holding the push to talk and then one managing the cable, so that way this cable doesn't get caught in the environment and potentially get severed, and then you lose that ability to communicate on that radio. So managing those cables is really important when it comes down to it. And then from there we have kind of 2 systems, and I want to talk about a few things with cable management for antennas and all that. So on this right hand side we have an antenna relocator, and then on this left hand side we have a body whip. No matter what system you're going with, I would highly recommend maintaining and managing your cables inboard of that cummerbund, because as you can see here, on this left hand side we've managed all of our cables with hair ties on the interior. On the right hand side over here, everything is managed exterior of the plate carrier cummerbund. Now the reason for managing your cables interior is it's going to protect those cables, prevent them from getting caught on your environment and potentially severed. It can kind of be uncomfortable up front and initially as you're getting used to your kit, but over time it'll kind of wear in a little bit and you won't notice it as much. If you're running soft body and hard plates, you can tuck those cables in between the cummerbund and the plate bag for those side plates or that side armor. But just something to think about when it comes down to it. If you're not running side plates, you notice it a little bit more. One thing you can do is just run a empty soft armor pocket, so to speak, and that can help kind of pinch everything in between and manage everything as needed. Now with that, you can see here we have our cable exterior. If it's exterior, it's going to have a tendency to get caught in the environment, on brush, urban environment stuff, all of that. That can potentially pull all of your cabling apart and sever those connections, which will essentially put you in a real bad situation and not have the comms you need. So inboard that stuff. I just wanted to show you what that looks like when it's exterior and why you want to replace that or fix that when it comes down to it. Now, in addition to that, when it comes to these cummerbunds, I like to leave the cummerbund open for any mission essential equipment that you may need. So depending on the position that you're in, you can use the back side of the cummerbund for general purpose pouches, and then you can run the front side of the plate carrier for any essentially fighting equipment that you need or additional ammo to be able to shoot and maintain that shoot piece to shoot, move, and communicate. So with that, up front here, you can run additional magazine pouches right there if you want, and you have flashbangs and frags. You can also run those up front here as well. I might, run one on each side, one flash, one frag, or just separate them completely, have flash on one side and frags on the other. These are the Longship Designs pouches. They're probably some of the best in the industry right now as far as flashbang and frag pouches go, so I would highly recommend those. Now, if you're in a lower leadership position, typically I've found that those guys are running the 203s or the 320s or any 40mm system. So the Blue Force Gear 40mm pouches are a really good option. What you can do with that, you can run 2 on either side, left and right, and then you can run these across the front and then have a total of about 10 rounds on the front of your plate carrier. So that's an option if you're running a 40mm system. And then outside of that, we also have some horizontal pouches here. We have the EOG Mini or the Micro Explosive Demo pouch, and then we also have the Cry Precision horizontal mag pouches. Those are really good for horizontal configurations. And then if you want to just run something simple like a small general purpose, 4x6, 5x5, 6x6 type pouch, you can definitely do that as well. So we have this kind of just to represent those for right now. But the cummerbund is essentially all 4 mission essential equipment that you need. Key takeaway with that is keep it low profile, keep it streamlined. That way you're not chicken winging off your kit and having problems there. On the back side of the plate carrier, we also have the zipper panel. So the zipper panel system from Cry Precision that you can set up on most of these plate carriers is just going to be your zipper add-ons and then your panels. That's going to be good for mission essential equipment. But the key thing for that panel is to protect everything internal. So everything internal is going to be all of your cables and antenna systems. So that's going to protect those from getting caught in the environment. You can see we have our relocator coming in from left to right and then tying into this short whip radio antenna. You can do a long whip as well, and then on the right hand side it's going to go from right to left for our body whip system. So just a way that you guys can kind of see how you can weave all of your cabling through the MOLLE and keep that MOLLE specific for managing those cables, protecting them and all that. Now in addition to that, I also like to run med stuff on the interior of that panel. So we've got 20 to 30 feet of tubular nylon, and that's going to be good for harnesses or improvised harnesses like a Swiss seat, as well as improvised litters, and then also drag lines to be able to drag a casualty if you need to. So having that 20 to 30 feet of tubular nylon is going to be good for all of that, and it's just simply hair tied into the plate carrier and the MOLLE. In addition to that, you do have this open space right here. I would recommend doing a vacuum sealed med kit if you don't have a gun belt and you can't run that med kit elsewhere on the plate carrier. This is a really good place to put that med kit to where you can access it with either your left or right hand, and you just have a small taped off pull tab that you can pull that entire thing out, and then you're just using hair ties to help hold that in place. So that's a really good way to maintain all of your med supplies and keep everything as streamlined as possible. Now with that, once you have all of that set up on the interior, my big thing is back panels kind of take the place of backpacks and assault packs and all of that. So this is a really good way of being able to maintain and carry all that equipment and distribute the weight just a little bit better instead of having that backpack and the shoulder straps and everything getting in the way. So with that, typically what I found is guys will run water on the interior of this back panel, and then additional clothing that they may need or any larger map things that or data that they need in that administrative and leadership role. So that's a good place to put all of that stuff. And then on the exterior, this is completely up to you on how you want to set up your back panel based off of your mission, your operational environment, and that leadership position. So a couple of things that I've seen in the past and things that I've also done: you can run flashbangs up top here, or you can run flashbangs and frags, or you can break it up to where you have some flashbangs, smoke, and frags, or you can just run all smoke depending on what equipment is available to you. So that's an option here up at the top. It's kind of front and center for everybody else to be able to grab and take, so that way kind of working in a team in that capacity and helping each other out. So some thoughts when it comes to that. In addition to that, some other ways that I've seen these guys set up: you'll have flashbangs or smoke or frags right here, and then you can run either a vertical pouch or a small general purpose pouch right here, and then you can either run a horizontal pouch or an additional small general purpose pouch here at the bottom. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. In the past, I've done flashbangs and smoke, large or long vertical horizontal pouch, and then a small general purpose pouch, or depending on what I need, I can swap that vertical pouch out with that horizontal, and then the small general purpose is up here. But the point is, it gets you kind of in the realm of being able to run whatever equipment that you need that's mission essential for your specific setup. So with that, I don't really have anything else for this. If you have any questions, please feel free, leave a comment. We will help you out in any way that we can when it comes to setting up this KDH plate carrier and filling any position that you need. Keep an eye out for some of the other videos that we're going to have, because we'll have stuff for riflemen, grenadiers, machine gunners, RTOs, and all of that to help each individual MOS or specific duty position when it comes to all of that. So with that, leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.